Do you prefer Vorked, or do you like have a first name you want me to use, or what do you prefer?
Vorked.
All right. Well, so I'm Gordon the Guardsman. I just Twitch a little bit. Not a real big thing, just something I like to do. I get a kick out of it, doing streams and recording some of my sessions I do for like Fantasy Flight games, like the 40K games, and now Halo Mythic. Um, so you're Vort. Are you like the sole creator, or like what's the situation with that and Halo Mythic and you? Like, what's the relationship?
Yeah, I started the project solo, and it's more or less stayed solo for what's reaching about 7 years now.
Yeah, because like I could have sworn I remember seeing stuff back in like 2016 about Halo Mythic coming about as a homebrew for Fantasy Flight games, like for Rogue Trader or something like that. Is that how it started?
It actually started as a mill sim. It ran on sort of the basic system that Fantasy Flight took for their games, which was a heavily modified version of BRP, basic roleplay.
Oh, okay, yeah, because I've seen the basic role playing system, and it's hella open. It's pretty vastly open. Where it's so open on some occasions, I feel like it'd be more work to use it than just picking a regular system for some of them.
Definitely. One thing I ended up doing was, while I was working on it, like the really early versions of the game, I took inspiration from GURPS as well and started to move away from just straight up BRP.
Okay.
And then I found this Gears of War game, which literally it cannot be found. I have tried recently to hunt it back down. It is gone off the face of the internet. I don't know how they scrubbed it.
Shit. Yeah, that's why you got to copy and yank what you can. That's one of the tragedies I've been dealing with lately. Is I think some point over the last couple weeks, Fantasy Flight Games got rid of their forum section on their website. They completely redid their website, so any homebrew for any of their games they had is gone. So,
Well, you might be
yeah.
able to use the Wayback Machine to grab that, because that's a large enough website.
Yeah, because like there was a homebrew on there called Only Astartes, which I have a copy of, which lets you play Space Marines in the Only War system. You get a highly customizable Space Marine now,
Yeah.
and you can't get that anywhere else now. It's like, unless you got a copy, it's fucking poof. So,
Yeah.
but so you're saying, so it was like GURPS, the basic role playing system, and then because I feel like some of the stuff. Well, I mean, some of the stuff you can't help but take from Fantasy Flight games. Like, there's not really much you can change as far as like disarm, quick draw, rapid reload. Like, there's not, the wording you can only type it in a thesaurus for so long before you're, basically stepping on your toes. I would assume. Um, do you ever have moments where you're like sitting there trying to think of something? You're like, I don't want to copy them 100%, but how many times can I say reload faster in a different way?
Honestly, for Mythic, I couldn't care less. Like, it was more or less use what works and just don't take anything out, right?
Gotcha.
But with how slowly Mythic came about over time, from one system to another, not even like system, it never really jumped a system. It just slowly got morphed into what it is now.
So as far as like the combat system goes, when did the multiple, you don't have like lightning attack, you don't have swift attack, like you just do multiple melee attacks based on your core characteristics. So when did that come about, or is that something that you pulled from another system?
That came about the very first system. That was back when the system originally was made for a Transformers tabletop game that went nowhere. And then I got a cease and desist for the character sheet by Hasbro, not for the game itself. They didn't like the character. I don't know why. So I eventually dropped that game and started working on Mythic. Back then, it was just called Halo Universe,
Oh, okay.
and it was very heavily a weird milsim GURPS BRP D100 game, and you would roll for everything. And that was at a time when the game wasn't only like a very crunchy game in terms of like how many dice are rolling. Everything was opposed. You even had like accuracy stats. Your weapons had kick. Like it was milsim. It was kind of crazy, and there were some aspects of the system like that specifically that I've pretty much refused to give away. Kind of like they're the core mechanics that the system to this day are built on, and I would probably have to just rip out and redo the entire game if I were to ever do anything else.
Yeah, but cause like the multi-attack thing, like it's, in some instances it makes sense. I lived on Camp Lejeune for 17 years, so I was around Marines, and I can tell you for a fact that Marines can smack you like 6 or 7 times in 4 seconds pretty easily. So, it's like I find myself agreeing with a lot of the stuff you do when it comes to like time narrative, like being able to move away from an opponent in melee. People are used to like D&D and like fantasy flight games where it's like, okay, me leaving the melee leaves me open for an attack, but if it's your turn, it makes sense that the dude just swung at you 4 times or whatever, he hit or missed, and him reeling back from the attack, he's like resetting his stance. So that would give you an opening to step back or shoot him or whatever. But some of that stuff I'm like totally in agreement with because it makes sense in my head and under like a time narrative. But was there like reasons for you doing it that were different, or like what was your reasonings for stuff like that, or is it just you just didn't want to have those rules in there?
A lot of what I did more or less came from spite or anger from other systems with issues I used to have, like way back when. Attack of opportunities, not being able to fire into combat with a weapon like a firearm built for close range combat. None of those rules ever made sense to me, and it always sounded like an excuse to make melee weapons better without actually having to do the work to make a good melee system. And I'm not saying mine's the best, but I've always thought there are so many other ways that you could go about making melee weapons useful, but they should never be the best unless they have a reason. Because you're never going to meet a dude that has a knife that will outperform a skilled person with a shotgun.
I mean, it's yeah, I guess it's totally dependent on the situation. Because I mean, yeah, if I round a corner and I got this guy dead to rights, yeah. But if you're telling me that I'm gonna have my weapon like down or holstered and he's 3 meters from me with a knife, I'm screwed. I don't think I could pull up quick enough and shoot them. But I mean, yeah, I can I mean I like it. I mean, it would there with the weapons using them in close quarters. I would say that your opponent should probably get like a bonus to dodging in close quarters like that, because I never did agree with Fantasy Flight Games basically saying no, you just can't use anything unless it's a pistol, and that just didn't make sense to me. But you know what? If someone's like a meter away from me and I go to shoot him with a shotgun, I think they should probably have a bonus to like evasion or something. But giving me negatives and giving me disabilities where I can't use my equipment, that does kind of just doesn't make sense.
There are some abilities in the game that do just that, but that's not something that somebody should get off the bat just because they have a melee weapon. Like that's something you have to learn and earn. There is an ability coming, or I should say, an action coming to parry with 4th edition that allows anyone with the melee weapon to knock around an opponent's ranged weapon. That'll give them some pretty hefty penalties.
Oh, okay. See, now that's cool. But like what I'm talking about, like how charging. when I charge an enemy, it imposes a -20. If a guy is trying to use his ballistics weapon in melee, I think that should give a bonus to evasion to the guy who's getting shot at, so that it's not really whether or not they have a melee weapon or not. You could have two people who are shooting at each other at point blank range, but it just throws a bonus because it's compensating for like having to put that round on them. Which I'm surprised that you had it to where you can use the equipment in melee, but you are foregoing the bonus to for point blank range. So what was the thought with that? Were you just finding it like way too overpowered for ballistic weapons in melee to get that +20 bonus, or what was your thought on that one?
That was another rule that's kind of just been there since the start. It was more of an idea that once somebody's like up at you with a firearm, I mean, with a melee weapon as you have a firearm, they're gonna do everything they can not to get shot. And when they don't have to line up and attack the same way you do, I thought it would be more than fair just to give a sort of penalty, or at least to remove the bonuses you get from close.
I got you. So yeah, they don't get an extra anything for shooting at them, but they can still like. Actually, yeah, I guess you could still half action aim, and gain that benefit. But yeah, the combat, I'm loving it so far. Explosives are scary. One thing, I always homebrewed hand grenades in Fantasy Flight games, and I shoot myself in the foot constantly, like, because everybody homebrews stuff or makes their own things, and I'm like, why didn't I ever think of a kill radius for explosives? I'm like, I feel so stupid for not thinking of it, because it's like so obvious to do. Like, now that I've seen it, it's so obvious. Like, where the hell did that come from? Is that like you, or is that from something?
Yeah, back during the original creation of the game, I had the idea that explosives have two radiuses in real life. Generally speaking, they have like
Yeah.
the shrapnel and the shockwave, and so that's what became kill and blast, respectively.
Yeah, because I guess walk away from it and nuh-uh was not a good name at first, so you had to change it to kill and blast.
Yeah, the term kill originally was kind of just that was like I don't have a better term for it right now than just kill. So it was blast radius, and kill is temporary, and it's just 7 years later, it's still very much here.
Yeah. So with there was one thing that I was running into, because we've just been I went from like I've seen your book probably when like the 3.0 came out, and I grabbed it and I've been reading it on and off, and now recently some friends were saying that they're excited to play it, and 4.0 came out, so we're running like 2 games a week, and we're all reading it, so we're all having a blast. So dumping a lot of hours into it, reading it and stuff. There was one thing that was getting me, because a lot of games have crit damage. Fantasy Flight games, Deathwatch has crap, I just forgot what it was called, but you rolled 10 and you could do extra damage or a crit. With the Halo system, I was wondering what brought about the critical damage, because in my mind, I thought all the D10s, like, an assault rifle being 3D10, having such a wide damage range, I thought that in and of itself was an explanation for crit damage already. But rolling a 10 is causing like additional characteristic effects, or like breaking bones and such like that. You know, Sometimes we do find it a little overpowering. Someone gets lucky, and it's like, I do understand. Shit happens in real life. Maybe a round hits your hand and now you've broken a couple fingers and stuff. But do you find it pretty extreme, or do you feel like you've hit it right on the nose, that that's what you've wanted?
I do think it's extreme, but that's also what I was going for.
Okay.
I think the way I've always seen Mythic is war can be extreme, and there's a lot of highs and lows, especially in combat. So the idea was crit damage should be terrifying, but because it's the Halo system, you have more than enough ways to get rid of those effects. You also have the luck system, which you can use to either, burn or spin to also ignore or get out of those effects. So I always thought it was like a fun give and take, I should say, of like the high side of the system is being like as the main characters, you get a lot of luck. The luck has multiple ways of getting you through things, whether it be narrative, combat, or oh man, I forgot the third term. But yeah, so the idea was when you get shot, there should be a good chance that it's do something pretty gnarly to your body, and you'll still be given a sort of currency to get away from that. And if you can't, or let's say you think, oh, I'll still survive this even with the crit damage, you can get some bone stitch polymer, some memory foam, some biofoam. Yeah,
Foam.
you'll be good to
Sorta.
go. Take a good nap.
So you're wanting to step away from the like D&D aspect of whether or not I have max wounds or one wound, I am still the same amount of combat effectiveness.
Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, because with me, it's just like as the GM and with the players, it's like it seems overwhelming at times to keep track of it all. But then again, you are right. There are a shit ton of medical stuff to avoid all those effects and stuff. So I guess it's like just players get hit with crit effects and they need to start focusing on their medical.
Yeah, and another big thing that's coming for 4.0
What's that?
is the medical system's getting very much overhauled. You'll have multiple ways now to actually fully heal wounds on the battlefield.
Yeah, because I was running into an issue where it's like I was worried to have them be in prolonged combats that would be multiple sessions because they're barely surviving a single session. I just ran a 5-hour session and they were I mean granted they fought 32 insurgents, but they lost a player and they were all shot to shit. So I mean there's still good ratio, but they couldn't go another round after that. Like they were done. Like so it's like because like even if they used all the medical supplies they had on them, they wouldn't be able to heal anything. Some of them were in like -10, -20s. So so you're saying you're gonna overhaul that to like basically fully heal and stuff. Like is that just gonna be like you can get to 100% again, or is this gonna be like kind of close?
So, like biofoam, everyone's favorite.
Mhm.
The new thing is you have 3 times in which you can use biofoam to actually heal, and it will heal fatigue and wounds. And it starts with 3d5 wounds that you get back the first time you use it. But every time you use it, it removes a d5 from the scenario. So you can only recover fatigue twice with biofoam, and you can recover wounds. And then you have to get an extended medical action, similar to what the game used to be, where you would have to have an extended medical action to allow yourself to heal. This is more or less is the extended medical action will allow you to continue to use healing items. But there will also be a cheaper, a new thing called Medigel, which was just introduced in the books. It's shown up multiple times now, which is a sort of very weak version of healing that will allow players to heal on the go. Minor wounds. You might get a D5 back, but
I mean, that stuff sounds great. I mean, it would be interesting to see even even taking it a step further with some of the like wound states or something where you could have it to where if they're in the negatives, it costs twice as much to heal. 5 negative would be 10 wounds you would have to heal or something because I mean like they start getting in the negative. I mean they start stacking on critical effects then I mean, to be honest, I think most of them probably get killed because of the stacking critical effects than they do actually like going into negative half their wounds. Because I got some guys who are rocking like in the 40s for their wounds.
I
But
actually believe it's like it's more than negative half their wounds now.
oh, did you change it? Are you changing it
Are you
in?
still running in 3.0
No, I'm using the one that's the 4.0 for the that you
beta?
had on the Discord, and it doesn't say anything about it changing.
Man, I've had to change these rules so often. I'm trying to think. Like, I think unconsciousness happens like at double your wound negative. I mean death. You'll be unconscious for a decent amount of time.
Oh,
It's
okay.
just to allow.
Yeah,
It's to allow players to like. I want them to go down. I don't want them to die, but I do want them to get some critical damage.
I mean, you're talking like some of them would have to get like they have to be wounded like 60 some wounds for them to die. You know, so I mean, I don't think it's an absurd amount. You know, even my lowest like wounds guy has like 31. He's got to be in the 50s to get actually killed, and that's what happened to him. And still, then he got shot at 7 times. He got hit with a hand grenade. Like so, it was definitely not anything crazy. Now, I would say that
It's only a hand grenade.
oh yeah, no, it was funny too. It was just it scattered right back at him. His friend blew him
Oh,
up
it
with
was
a hand
stone.
grenade. No,
Oh
it
no.
was the guy. Yeah, his teammates did it. So that was always a beautiful moment. But I mean, that's what you get. I mean, they were sitting there and they're like, I mean, I was just throwing a hand grenade. I'm like, this ain't 40K. I was like, your grenades are scary in real life. And I was like, y'all are chucking grenades down hallways that are like 9 meters long. Like, that's not a great area to be just chucking hand grenades like you're cool. Like, you know? And they're like, whatever. But, yeah, I was thinking like maybe a threshold for when crit damage starts. I mean, it's just for me, it's like, you know, getting crit damaged like almost instantaneously, it just stacks and it weary. Because I mean, I've seen too many times where players get hit and it's now affecting like their movement. It slows the pace of the combat down a little bit. Because I mean, it's gonna take a while for me to memorize all those crit damages. I mean, I'm sure you probably have a good amount memorized, but
I wish.
yeah, it's like I've always been a GM where it's like I'll homebrew stuff just to streamline stuff. You know, the less amount of rolls I have to do, the less everyone has to keep track of, the more pacing, the more we get to play. Because you know, narratively, combat takes forever. You know, it
Oh yeah.
takes so long. Even though really, it's like okay, we fought for 25 rounds and killed 30 guys. How long has it been? 6 minutes. Like that's like nothing. The
Yeah.
Pelican's still on its way.
One big thing was the the roll 20 sheet. Like
Yeah.
that was meant to be a big reason to continue working on the system the way I am.
Mm-hmm.
Was that we could allow people to quickly move through combat using like the auto roller that's now given to the players through it.
Yeah, we're about to hop into the new sheet because for some reason it wasn't working for a couple players, and
Were they using Firefox?
no, we were all using Chrome. So I told them, I'm like, you know, download Firefox if you don't have it, and we'll try again. But
Firefox was actually what was causing some issues for us. We had to,
really,
yeah, Warhound had to like go through a ton of like debugging because at some point Firefox didn't allow like certain types of scripts to be run. So certain parts of the character sheet just would not work for Firefox users.
well, shit, yeah, because I've had some character sheets on other games mess up, and I have Chrome and Firefox just for that specific reason, where it's like, oh, it's not working. Flip to the other one. All right, it works now, and I'll just do that. But we're about to start using it now because I was like, we've gotten to a decent like stopping point where it's like, all right, you guys are going to be ODSTs now. Instead of doing the upgrade, we're just going to have you remake your characters so then I can kill this roll 20 game and then make a new one so we can get these sheets. But I mean, there's like you know, just a few things. I mean, it's an amazing game. I mean, there's a lot there, and I'm having the time of my life. It's great. You know, I come from a very military heavy family, and I used to hang out with all my military friends all the time. But now it's like I play 40K and stuff so much, and you don't really get too many former military guys and stuff. And so for having this game, you know, I get some more friends in that are former military, and we start having a blast. You know, but
Yeah.
what made you throw it into Halo? Why not something like modern or near future or anything like that? Why Halo?
Halo's always been like the game for me. I've been playing it since 2002. When I got my hands on the PC version of Halo CE, and
Right.
it was shortly after Reach where the idea of this game came out, and when I started to actually work on it and to kind of compile a system based on just a hodgepodge of a bunch of things I wanted to try. I had never even touched GURPS, but the idea of GURPS was appealing to me, and I had played a lot of D&D 3.5, Exalted, and I liked the idea of Exalted with just all the dice. And you know, that's that and GURPS kind of influenced pretty heavily on just all the dice being thrown up, and just who I played D&D with a lot were former military people, a lot of Air Force dudes. So like a lot of that's where I got the idea of like being a bit more gruff with the narrative, because Halo is always, especially in the books, just a very violent, very realistic like take on combat and military.
I mean, shit. Even Halo Legends was not pulling any punches. They had no problem killing them off and blowing people up. So, yeah, I can definitely see that. Um, have you had thoughts of doing any like modern like weapon setups and stuff for it?
Actually, we do, and it's completely finished. And now it's more. How do I put? It's called the Armory, and there are over 400 weapons statted out of modern weapons, uh, spanning back from like the 1940s till now. There are even tons of prototypes that are now in that system.
Shit. Have you? Is what's the so like? Is it a full remake or is it just weapons?
Oh, so how do I put this? Like, what I'll send to you now, those are the weapons. And the idea behind the weapons itself was, let's make the weapons a spreadsheet, link to the spreadsheet, and then let the community also work on it. And this game came out a while ago, and it was for a while its own handbook. I would suggest using 4.0's, Mythic's 4.0 handbook now with it.
Okay.
But there are some specific rules. Being character creation is very specific to the Armory, because you're generally making a military person of like a specific nation, your nation, whatever you want to choose. The GM more or less sets all that out. And then there's the armor system, which took a while to make. And what it is you have sorts of types of armor that you set out to make. So like heavy armor, different types of tiers of armor. Then you have like the plating systems. You can check it out there. It's a very.
So the armory is the weapons that you would need, and then the armory alpha is the game itself.
Yes.
Okay. And so, I mean, shoot, yeah, because like in your server, I mean, yeah, I saw something that said the armory, but to be honest, I thought that was just random pictures of stupid ass looking guns. No, not guns, stupid ass looking guns, because they weren't they were like meme guns. But yeah, so that's actually for that. So you call it the armory.
Yeah, because the game is done, they've decided to use the channel as like gun talk.
So yeah, that one's considered done. Like that's not. No one's gonna work on it. That's finished. It's good.
I will be transferring the rules over to 4.0, but
okay.
what I'm going to be doing when Mythic 4.0 drops, I'm going to be stripping everything out of the armory and having it tie into Mythic as a splat book. That way, you'll never have to worry about the rules being out of date anymore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because Armory's rule set quickly, what's the word? Went out of date as more and more people wanted to have work specifically done. Excuse me, on Mythic. Because I've done a lot of games. People only ever care about Mythic.
Really? Yeah, because I do remember seeing like you guys had some stuff for like, some kind of like World War One game and some other
Yeah.
things there. So, but I mean, at its core, every game's the same system.
Yes.
Okay, so you're like going through literally just kicking out like an expansion that's just basically equipment, classes, and maybe some talents or something, essentially, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh well, I mean, shit. I mean, you can't get better than that.
Yeah. So the games are all balanced to each other as well.
Oh, so I can have people with muskets fighting Navy SEALs, and it would be cool.
Oh, definitely. The games span from Mythic, Halo feature, but you also have the Armory, which is modern. Then you have the American West. That's the Wild West handbook. You have the medieval Europe. Then you have the Middle Ages Asia, and those two books came out together. And those
I feel like
span
the
for
one that should get renamed is probably the Armory. To be honest, man, that's the only one that I don't understand what it is off the bat.
Yeah.
I get the Wild West one almost immediately, and even the Asian one, the World War one, but like, yeah, the Armory leaves it a bit open.
Oh, that was the point. It was designed to be open for people to make their own equipment.
So it started as literally an armory. It was people just making weapons, but now it's its own standalone modern game.
I have multiple spreadsheets and generators that will balance weapons for you, and all you have to do is you put in the information that the weapon is, and it will give you the stats.
Oh shit, that's pretty crazy, man.
Yep, that's how they were able to pump out all of these weapons. I believe, we're sitting at 300 weapons now in the armory document.
And it's all like
All
1940s to modern. It doesn't exceed. Does it go to sci-fi or no?
No, it does not go sci-fi. These are all real modern weapons that have existed at one.
Gotcha. That's
And
crazy, man. That's a lot of work.
yeah, and that's not including all of the weapons that are offered in the American West or the World War One expansion.
Oh, you didn't move those over there because you didn't feel like it was necessary?
No,
That makes sense. Yeah, because
those are very much not modern weapons either.
Oh. Yeah, guys, I've sat here. I mean, the Fantasy Flight games. That's the best system, the Only War system. That's the best one that I could find. But when it came to like wanting something like more grounded in realism and to be more military focused, it's like it left you wanting. It's like I was like sitting there trying to homebrew stuff for modern games and stuff like that, but it just it's you can't get players for that if you're sitting there saying like, hey, do you want to play a modern homebrew version of this sci-fi game that I fucking it's a mouthful. So having an actual book to throw out and be like, we're gonna play this, and your system is so similar. Well, I mean, because its source comes from a very similar place. Like it's close to it. I see a lot of people from Ordo Discordia, where all the 40k stuff is, in your Halo Mythic one, and they're all pretty much seems to be transitioning pretty well. So I think that's pretty crazy. Do you play any of the other systems anymore, or is it pretty much you just play your own?
I don't even get to play my own.
Oh, you don't you don't have time?
No, my time is spent at work. It ends there. I'm just working all the time.
I can understand that. I see some of these like younger kids or, you know, 20-year-olds and stuff like that. And I'm like, they're like, yeah, play like 14 games a week or something. I'm like, yeah, no, I got two.
Yeah.
Gonna stay at two. Um,
I get one real life game every 2 weeks, and I actually have that later today.
Shoot,
It's
man, I haven't even played a real
D&D
life game in years.
2.5,
2.5. Why? Are you going that far
second
back?
edition advanced. Yeah.
3.5 is the
It's
best, man.
what my GM's been GMing that game
Oh lordy.
for almost as long as I've been alive.
Oh lordy. Shit.
Yeah, very good at it.
Oh yeah, it's funny as hell, man. You get some of these younger people that come up to you and they're like, it's like, I know about this system. I played it for a year. I was like, dude, I bought the Death Watch book when it came out. I was like, I know what I saw it. Barnes and Nobles. Shut your face. Like, like, but it's some of these systems, man. They have their ups and downs. Like I will say, 5e, D&D 5e, that is you will not find an easier system to get into and play and build a character. Like that game is so easy, but there's so many rules that aren't there that might, simple things like me who's like, I want to throw a bomb at something, or it's like, they'll sit there and be like, there's not really rules for that, just fucking make it up or something. But you get some people who are so by the book that if it's not in there, they're just like, you can't do it. And it's like, no, I can totally throw something at this other thing and it would be fine. It's like, well, you can't target something that's not what? It's like,
Yeah, that's a big reason why I've never liked really simplistic games.
yeah.
Powered by the Apocalypse is probably one of the ones I hate the most.
Oh, isn't that one where it's like you just kind of do it and or something? It's like something weird. I don't even think you roll dice in it.
You can roll dice.
Oh lordy!
It's usually like a few dice, but the game so heavily wants the player's dead that I don't actually understand why people enjoy it. Because like a good example is every time the players create an action, the enemies all get to act. So it's as if every single time someone were to go and do something, the game would not only punish them for it, because let's say if something attacks you, it does that. It gets its attack on you. That's it. And then if you attack something, it gets a reaction, which is either an attack or putting more or less a negative effect on you. And it is just a nasty, oversimplified game, in my opinion, that takes out almost everything that makes a tabletop game unique. And it kind of feels like a storytelling device that just attacks the players.
Yeah. I remember sitting down and reading through the rule book for that, and I was just mad like the whole time. I was not feeling it. Now there was an old game that I tried once in a hobby shop, which I'll never be able to find again because you can't remember the name, and Google doesn't work on vague description. So, describing what it was doesn't help. But it was an old system that like I played 15 years ago, maybe now. Like it's been a long time, and it was basically a very small book that told you you filled out your background and stuff, and then it told you on stuff that you could do. It's like, oh, I was a taxi driver. Okay, you know how to drive. Check. Like, very simple. And when it came to doing things, you said, I'm going to do something. And then you flip a coin, roll a two-sided dice, whatever, but you have a 50-50 chance. And then that's it. You do it or you don't. So
I know what system you're talking about.
it was
like
crazy shit because you would hit there and it's like, okay, I'm gonna run up the wall and I'm gonna jump and shoot this guy. It's like, okay, run up the wall, flip a coin. All right, you fall on your face. It's like, that's it. That's as simple as it was.
Yeah. Man, like listen, it became very popular for tabletop podcasts, which I heavily enjoyed, like listening to people play tabletop games while I'm at work. And the moment everyone started switching to Powered by the Apocalypse and all of those, all of the ones based on those systems, I no longer listen to anything because it became less about an open world with open possibilities. It became storytelling trumps all and a system that generally just does not like the player.
Yeah, I mean, it's like systems that are like simple with complexity. Like you like a game where, like D&D, Vampire the Masquerade, Halo Mythic, like they're simple. Like if you want to just crank out a character and you want to just be a meathead or a marksman, it can be that simple. Boom, boom, 10 minutes. Boom, I got a character. I can do this. I'm good. But if you want to be more complex, Vampire the Masquerade, go into the magic, start doing dark magics and stuff, or blood magic, whatever the hell they call it. D&D, start being a wizard. Halo Mythic, start looking at advanced like ammos and crazy ass equipment. Like I like games that if I want an easy game and I want to have a simple time, I can crank out a character and play and have a good time. But if I want it to be complex and I want that openness, I have that as an option, not a need. Like I love that, and I know you've gotten that across. Like if I Halo Mythic, it's crazy. It's like you get CR. There's no rolling stats. There's some stuff, but I mean, most of the time, I just tell my players, I'm like, pick whatever the fuck you want. I don't care. Pick your background, pick your outcome, I don't care where you live from. Just pick whatever one you want, the one that makes you the happiest. And then they just go through. I'm like, roll exit option. You don't have to. And they just pick all their stuff and go through. Not having to roll characteristics is like the best thing I've ever seen. I'm like, that's an option. I was like, that's awesome. I'm like, Halo Only War and Deathwatch always had that as an option. It wasn't like the only way to do it.
Yeah, I don't even want people rolling for things. Like I don't like the idea of just being screwed over from character creation. That doesn't sound fun. Like it used to be a part of the system just because everyone else did it. But at one point when I was just getting like annoyed enough with like, oh man, my character at the start is just worthless because of bad rolls.
Yeah, I always got irritated with stuff like that. Some people in D&D are really fierce about that kind of stuff too. It's like, oh, you don't get to pick where your rolls go. You don't get to pick this, so you got to roll for everything. It's like, hey, I didn't choose to do an RPG to be a random half midget magic flinger. Like, it's like, it's a role playing game. I'm here to be whatever the hell I want to be. If I want to be me, but an orc version, that's what I'm going to do. If I want to be some, fairy pixie thing, that's what I want to do. It's like, I feel like that's how it should be. So like, yeah, being able to be like, hey, pick whatever the hell you want. It's like that's dope. I'm always with that.
Yeah.
I mean, shoot, you got it to where, I mean, you could play as damn near anything from the Halo universe except for the Flood. So, some hot shit. Actually, I don't know for a fact if whether or not can you play as a Flood. Is that an option?
Oh no, you can fight them, but okay. I'm not going to let you play them. That's way too much.
Hey, that'll be a hell of a campaign, though. You are all part of the Grave Mind. Let's go, man. Start taking out this world. I mean, yeah, I saw that you had him statted in there and stuff, and I mean, damn, man. I mean, did you just like you had to go do some research, didn't you? You were on that wiki, weren't you?
Oh yeah. So I'm living there whenever like something new happens. I also have people coming to me with like, oh, here's what's new in the book.
Yeah, because you're trying to make it like, yeah, you're like updated. Like you're gonna be putting all the new shit from Halo. What's the new one called? Is it? No, it's not Legends. That's the anime thing. What's the new one called? Halo.
Oh, the game Infinite or Beyond? There's also Point of Light.
What the hell is
new
Point
book?
of Light? Oh, that's the book. Yeah, no, I was talking about the video game. I think are the books now exceeding the video games in chronological, like time wise?
Uh, no, currently no. Generally, the game will usually be the most recent, and the books will fill in information or lead into the next. Actually, that's not even true, because we've had several books since then that have happened after Halo 5.
Oh, well, shit. Yeah, because Halo 5 was the last game, and that was the furthest along. And there's books after that. Now Halo Infinite will be the furthest along in the order. Which, I mean, people don't have a grasp on, unless you're a fan and you like take a look and stuff, they don't have a grasp on the actual timeline. When I was explaining to like my brother, I'm like, yeah, I was like, like from Reach to Halo 3 is like less than 8 years, right? And he's like, what? Like, I was like,
Halo, yeah, Reach, yeah, man.
I was like, there's
It's like
like
6 months.
20 something years of like the war was like 28 years. I was like, there's a 20 years of war before that. Like, I mean, just a big ass gap. Which blows my mind when I see so many people in your server being like, we're gonna do a campaign where you start as Marines before the Covenant and then you become Spartans. I'm like, dude, you don't understand. I hope your players are like 17, and I hope their characters are, because they ain't gonna make it. They're gonna be like, like I had to tell my players that. I'm like, we're shooting to be, we started in 2026, or no, wait, sorry, 2226.
Okay.
That was far back. Or wait, is it 25, 26?
Yeah, there you go.
25.
Unless your characters are gonna live a few hundred years.
I was like, I can see the number when I'm looking at it, but we're in the same century, so I'm just like, or is it millennium? I don't know. I'm not the brightest nail in the bunch if you haven't noticed, but 25, 26, so a year after Contact Harvest, and I'm like, we're gonna go until like just before Reach, and out the gate, I'm looking at their characters. I'm like, yeah, any of y'all that are over 20, you ain't gonna make it. I'm gonna let you know right now. I was like, you're gonna be in like your 40s, and they're like, what? I was like, you gotta be under 20. Your character does. I was like, even if I freeze you guys for, months or a year at a time, you're gonna be old as shit.
Sergeant Johnson was canonically in his 80s during Halo 3.
Yeah, I mean, he still was physically probably in his mid to late 40s. So like,
I'd say 60s, but
there's no way that Sergeant Major Johnson was 60. Like
physically? Oh yeah, no, definitely. The dude's been. Shit. Yeah, people live long in the Halo universe.
Well, I mean, he looked great because like he was looking, almost like John Wick, and John Wick's like close to, Keanu Reeves is like 50 something.
Yeah.
So,
but he's also legitimately a super, so he had that going too.
Yeah, he was a super, so that's why he couldn't get flooded or something.
Yeah.
Which was weird. He had like some kind of spinal condition, but it didn't. I don't even know I can't remember in the books or not if it affected him in any negative way. Did he have issues? Like, was he in constant pain?
No. The Orion program had no drawbacks to it. It was just expensive and time consuming, so they had put it on hold for them to reassess everything.
No, I thought that was the one they specifically had like a few people get like horrifically crippled.
They had a 100% success rate for the Orion program. The Spartan 2s, that's when I believe over a third of the kids died.
Yeah, I can't remember which one it was, but Oni made up like a fake disease to cover up.
Boren syndrome.
Yeah, I thought that was one, but maybe it was 2 or 3. Who knows? So many Spartans.
Spartan 3s didn't really have any issues either. It was the Spartan 2s, they got way too ambitious with them. Screwed up the poor kids.
Yeah, they're just little orphan boys and girls getting, we have equal opportunities in the UNSC, and getting mutated to become super soldiers.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's great. Halo's a great universe. Love the RPG. Can't wait to see what's coming. Are you is the armory not the actual game, is the armory inside the Halo Mythic, is that ever going to get its work with the pictures similar to the vehicles? Like, are you ever gonna have pictures alongside the
There's too
weapons?
many. There's just
Too
too
many.
many. Yeah,
I
3 guns just got introduced in the new book that I'm gonna have to put in.
Yeah, we got to do something though. We got to it's hard as shit to read that. I'm going to say that right now. Like the armory stats and stuff. We got to like space them out or something and uh chop them down. But the thing I'm running into is actually cuz we noticed that you did the armors by era, but not the weapons.
That's
Were
because most of the weapons don't actually have an era.
Yeah, yeah, because like there was people in my game that we were going back and forth about the battle rifle, and they were like, "Well, the battle rifle wasn't until like Halo One, Halo Two, or whatever," and I'm
Those
like,
battle rifles have been around for like
"Well,
50, 60 years.
yeah." My simple explanation, like right off the bat, I'm like, "Well, then why the fuck was Sergeant Major Johnson holding one on the cover of Contact Harvest?" And he's
Yeah,
like,
exactly. That was the
"Uh."
XBR. Yeah.
I was like, and they were like, and I'm like, yep. I'm like, there you go. But yeah, man. It's
The biggest issue about that, like I've tried. I have tried that multiple times, but there are over 400 guns in the system now. So I'd put maybe 20 or 30 of them actually having any sort of timeline in their information. It's just unfeasible, especially when weapons like the saw. I thought the saw was brand new. We just recently got lore like and information about the weapon that puts that gun's usage like 20 years before Halo 3.
yeah, yeah. Because I mean, I mean, the weapons themselves. I mean, they're still grounded in realism with the fact that they're not fucking super sciencey next level like guns and stuff. I mean, they're shooting like 308s and 7.62.
Yeah.
They're still kind of like modern equipment. Like if you've seen the image of like the stripped Halo assault rifle without the top sights and everything, like it just looks like a bullpup like assault rifle with iron sights. It's like nothing from science fiction really. It's just a gun. Which I mean is it's the same thing with like the Star Wars or any other like sci-fi show, Firefly or anything like that. They're all just modern weapons with extra bullshit on them. That's why they look futuristic.
Star Wars was a Luger.
Yeah, it's the same like it's the same shit.
Yeah.
The BR's just got this like fancy ass like top sight that's like not necessary. I mean like
Yeah.
I mean
Well, bullet cheap.
what's that?
Bullet cheap.
But yeah, bullets are cheap. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Man,
That's the entire reason. Like that's the entire lore reason behind it. Bullet cheap.
I would like to see an RPG for there's a sci-fi series which I hate so much that never got a show, never got a movie called Starfist. I don't know if you ever heard of that.
I've never heard of that.
Sci-fi takes around the same time period. It's like the same era as Halo. It's like the 2300s, 2500s, but the Marine Corps uses plasma technology and they have like chameleon uniforms, so they're kind of like cloaked and stuff, and it's impressive, man. It was written by I want to say a gunnery sergeant from the Marine Corps and a corpsman, and they wrote it, and it was some crazy shit. And if you love Halo, I'm telling you, go take a look at those books, because, dude,
Ah, man, I can't read.
I was like, I would say something about an audiobook, but I don't know if they have those for that. I know the Starfish books are like on Amazon and shit, but man, because like, yeah, I love Halo, and I love Starfist, and because it's like that's the shit I love is, you know, 40K. You got Space Marines and stuff, and it's cool, it's great, but I always sympathize more with the Imperial Guard, even in their books and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'm more of like, I'm like, give me a story, man. Give me Band of Brothers, give me Generation Kill. Like, I don't really need to in charge mass like run with bayonet at somebody. It's like I want to see, intimate moments and stuff that's, realistic. And I mean, your game's delivering, man. It's a great system. So it's, I don't know if you're getting a lot of pats on the back, but you definitely have something you should hold your head high for.
Recently,
Right.
it's been more like a knife in the back. A lot of people like to talk trash about the system behind my back.
Oh well, you could tell them to eat my ass. That's fine. I mean, they could just
Yeah.
because I mean
No,
it's
like as we were talking, when you talked about Ordo Discordia, I'm like,
uh-huh.
I'm gonna go join that. And I went to other RPGs, and you'll notice in there that my system's what they've been talking about, and they've been shitting on it, and that makes me sad.
Oh really? What are they saying?
Oh, they're just talking about how it's an awful mess, but a lot of it's being spearheaded by a couple people who have been trouble users in the community in the past about the system. So I
They
guess it
don't know
should be
how to
expected.
read. I mean, hey man, good, bad talk. It's all good.
Yeah.
So
Oh, definitely.
I would say feedback's feedback, but don't let them, don't ever let them get to you.
Oh
Because
yeah.
you don't want to get in no shouting match or anything like that. You just correct them and stuff like that. But I mean, just take everything with a grain of salt. Because it's at
For
the
me, I just want the feedback. I don't
yeah.
want people like trying to just trash it and make it look like it's just this awful thing. I just want honest to God feedback.
Well, you have to keep in mind that like with some people, there's this issue where it's like they want it to be their way,
Mhm.
and when it's not, if you don't issues with the melee combat, like I said, like being able to leave melee combat without getting a free hit, a lot of people don't agree with that because of other games because they're used to it a certain way, which means it's the same thing as like people being assholes in traffic. It's like I could wait to make my left turn, but I'm just gonna cross in front of you because fuck you. It's just like that. It's just people are assholes. It's like I want melee combat to be my way, and then you tell them like, no, this is how it is, and then they get all upset, which is ridiculous. But it's like if you're taking in feedback and stuff like like me making a suggestion about like if I'm shooting at someone in melee, the person being shot should have like a +10 to their evasion. And if you're like, maybe that'll work if it unbalances stuff, it's like if you take the information and then think about it and then just you know if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. People live
Mhm.
with that. But when you have some people, because I've seen that before with people who make their own stuff, where they're like, nope, just they don't even think about it. They're just like, nope, it's like this. That's it. Period. And it's like, let's be honest though. 3 weeks from now, it could definitely not be like this. Let's be real for a second. Like, it
Yeah,
definitely
definitely.
changes. But
A,
yeah, man.
a big thing that I've always wanted, I'm so open with the system in terms of like bringing in feedback, suggestion that since very early on in the system, before like before I modernized the system, say, I have a fixed list suggestions and opinions doc that it's an open document and anyone can enter under fixes, suggestions, or missing new content. And this system's been working pretty well. Like you can put in whatever information. It's like, oh, I have an issue with this, or I think this should be like this. For the most, like I read everything. I take everything into account, and I make sure that everyone at least has a voice. And as long as they're explaining why they believe something should be drastically changed, it as long as it makes sense, it will stay on the table.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, because it's like, yeah, people are gonna have bright ideas. People are, groups will definitely make a difference, and yeah, any feedback can be beneficial. But I mean, seeing like even just compared, I mean, because I know it's been a couple years, maybe I don't know what's the time difference between 4.0 recently coming out and 3.0?
About a year,
About a year. So
if not a little
well
more.
then, shit.
I usually get like a major edition out a
It
year
might
at this
not
point
have
now.
might not have been 3.0 I was looking at then because I it's been at least two
Might
or
have been
three
two
years,
point five, 2 and
maybe
2.5.
possibly. But even like the difference from there, vast changes.
Oh yeah.
over that. But the core game, the fundamentals, like, I never saw anything drastically change to the point where it's like, to be honest, like, you could still play with both like rule books and with the same, like, you could still play the game with both, and stuff would conflict and there'd be a few issues, but for the most part it wasn't like drastically changed, which I gotta give you like major props for, is the fact that like nobody came to you and like gave you so much feedback and stuff that you just like changed a lot. Like, you didn't change everything just to tailor to what people are saying. Like, you still are Halo Mythic at its core, and you are
Yeah.
fundamentally, like, I can say you're making progress, and I gotta give you props on that, man, because it's like, everybody has their little projects and stuff they work on, and it seems like you're just plowing through walls, and you don't want to keep working on it, you don't want to keep doing it. Maybe there's a game you're running that's just, maybe you're not feeling it and stuff, but dude, you are killing it, and you are making progress, and it's blowing my mind. And you're not even asking for anything, which is blowing my mind again. But I mean, that's like me with my Twitch stuff. I don't have a PayPal link, I don't have a shit. I don't give a shit about the money. Like, I just want to have fun, and I just want to do what I want to do. And I assume that that's probably along the lines of what you're doing. You just want to make a system that you wanted to have fun playing. Am I right?
Yeah. Even if I don't get to play it anymore, that is definitely how I went about it.
You should fix that. You should play with some fucking Australians or something. They're always up this late.
If I can find people to play with, I would enjoy just. I don't even want to GM. I just want to be in a game and try to remember my own damn rules.
There you go. I mean, hey man, you've got it, man. There are people on Ordo Discordia. They'll join the games. I've posted there a few times. People look for games all the time on yours. I'm sure you can find some. I mean, shit, post it on Reddit. I'm sure you'd be able to find a game in a heartbeat, man. Even if it's just a couple people.
Yeah.
Because yeah, your system's great, man. It's amazing. I'm loving it. I don't even. I think the only thing I've done, because there was the only homebrew I've done, which I've done for every Fantasy Flight game too, is the. And some people like the random hit allocation. I default all shots to the chest because I want called shots to be used more, because I don't see people doing called shots enough. So that is one thing I've always homebrewed, is that if you're shooting at someone, they're all gonna hit the chest. And that's just what I've done. Because like in my mind, it makes sense with even like a military aspect, is the fact that you know, a lot of Marines, everybody's trained to aim center mass, and it is the largest part of the body. So like with me, it's like the hit allocation stuff in Fantasy Flight games just never made 100% sense to me. And then it's in Halo Mythic. Now I know you do that probably to help with the crit damage too, I'm gonna assume.
So what you're bringing up is a really good idea, and something that I would honestly put into the system, like, you know, default shots unless you call action. But the game is just so heavily involved with cover, and, you know, like, sometimes people don't have or don't think that they can risk taking the called shot. So, you know, you've got all these characters that run around with like physical shields, like the elites, like the jackals for the most part. And then you have, you know, people taking cover that it wouldn't be fair if like someone's head's poking out, but because you didn't take a called shot, that they cannot be shot. Like, that's the only thing stopping from like implementing like quick 2-hit rules like that.
Well, I mean, the cover only gives like bonus armor. Isn't that how it's worked?
Oh, yeah, but a lot of that cover, you know, can be really beefy. You hide behind like an ODST pod, you're not shooting through that thing.
Oh well, I mean, not that, but I mean like concrete's only an 8. Most cars and stuff are like a 6. I think sandbags are like a 6. Like most urban.
You need to go back and read those. That's per centimeter.
per centimeter. How the hell am I
Yeah,
supposed
that
to figure out that in a meter?
you just guess. You just go.
Just
That's like 4 centimeters of concrete. It's all about guessing. You
per
just pull numbers out your butt.
centimeter. Oh man, now you're killing. All right, hold on. Now we got to talk about this. Yeah, hold on. Because you know what? It's still with cover how I was doing it. It still made sense because it's like because cover only applies to the chest and legs. Um, so well, I think that's correct because I'm not gonna lie, I do get Fantasy Flight Games rules mixed up
No,
with
you
this
can you can just
sometimes.
hide behind cover. There are even rules that allow you just to put your arms over to fire over to
Yeah,
either indirect fire or just blind fire.
yeah, but when you are popping out to take shots and stuff, is it the same as Fantasy Flight Games? Like when you're in cover, it's just applied to the chest and legs?
It kind of, I guess it would more or less depend on the GM, but that would make the most sense. Yes,
Yeah,
like you're popping out of cover, so you're going to be able to be shot.
yeah, that's what I was assuming that it was, or I mean, because I can't quote 100% that I read it somewhere because to be honest, when you're getting to be as old as I am and as sleep deprived and yada yada etc words and such, everything starts melding together. I mean, I could probably start quoting like you know verses and stuff from like Paw Patrol because I have to listen to that 10 times a day. So like
Yeah.
it made sense. Like the called shot stuff still made sense because it's like, oh, he's in cover. Yeah, guess what? Just became triply double valued called shots. Because I don't know, man. I stick to my guns. I think that's the way to go. And if you're talking about it's per centimeter and not meter, that's insane. Like cover shouldn't be because the armor is pretty tough, but because we're already finding issues with using melee weapons against armored targets, and unless you
Oh yeah,
have
definitely.
unless you have an energy sword, you're basically fucked. But one of my players has found a workaround where he's using the machete and doing a dual strike to kind of stack his damage. So kudos on him for figuring that out. But oh, there was one definitely I never got answered on your server, and I can ask you now. How the fuck am I supposed to use pepper spray?
Spray him in the face.
I've been doing it as a half-action utility use.
Yeah, Yeah, because it doesn't have actual like firing.
Well, yeah,
But
but
if pepper spray,
it has a range of 1 to 10 meters, and I think that's crazy. It should be like 1 to 3, maybe.
no, pepper spray's terrifying, dude.
No, I have been pepper sprayed for a training
Yeah.
course and
Yeah.
for a non-related training course.
Yeah, so I used
so-
to know a dude who's in the military actually, and he like his entire thing in the Air Force was he would in his area assist the National Guard, and he would be given a separate like uniform for that, in his area, and it came with pepper spray, and he brought it once to the game shop, and we went outside and he fired it, and it probably shot 3 to 4 houses away.
Oh yeah, no, I have no doubt. Like I've seen them. They
Yeah.
reach out and touch people. That's for a fact. But with it only being a half-action utility use, just doing it, I'm saying 1 to 3 meters is because that's who's using it is people in melee. I would say is perfectly reasonable. If there is one you want to make a more beefier version that's like bear mace or something that shoots at like you have to actually roll a test for it.
Well, you're fighting Covenant. You better be bringing the bear mace.
Yeah, it's like because it's I totally understand you when you're talking about like what is real or not, but with some things you do have to just kind of chuck that out and be like, well, mechanically. And right now, if that means 10 meters, I can just as a half action just borderline stun someone. They're not really stunned, but they're damn near.
Yeah.
That's pretty.
Oh, here we are. Pepper spray is a full action.
Oh, it is. Where the hell is that written at?
It's an old rule that I need to fix. I'm gonna fix that now.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
man,
make it an auto 1.
an auto one. Because the auto, well, wait. So I guess as a half action, that's still one. So as a full action, that's one. That's weird.
Auto 1 is only in the system. Like the system's built that way specifically so I can have weapons that can only fire once a round
Gotcha.
and not get bonuses to firing.
I was
Lot of weapons need that in the Halo unit.
I was looking at it too. So like with semi-auto, you can fire the amount in parentheses. So if it's semi-auto 3, I can fire 3 shots as a half action. Is that correct?
Sorry. Simi, what?
If it's semi-auto 3, I can fire 3 shots as a half action.
Yes.
Yeah, man, I was looking at that. I found it almost overpowered. Cause it's like is the +10 for semi-auto applied to each single attack?
Every single one.
See, I'm finding that because like the aim action only applies to the first one.
Yeah.
So it's more beneficial for the assault rifle to shoot 2 3-round bursts at a +10 for every shot than the half action aim at a +5 and then shoot a semi-auto burst. But I guess if I really want to hit that first shot. But,
Yeah.
Yeah, because
And people really want to hit that first shot.
Yeah. I
Well,
don't know. Like,
so
I feel like it almost needs to be. I feel like semi-auto should almost be like full auto, where you still get the +10, but a half action you only do half as much, and a full action you do the full amount. Because I feel that you're foregoing the rate of fire for accuracy, but I feel like that's what you were getting across. But 2 bullets being the difference, that kind of doesn't seem like enough.
well, how the system works is with aim actions, especially with 4.0's aim action. I don't know if they changed 3.7 or 4.0. As long as you do not move and your target doesn't move a specific amount of meters based on your perception, you get to keep that for every shot you fire, and you get to keep it throughout multiple actions as long as you're still able to hold the aim action. So like you can keep it with an automatic. You can keep those nasty aim actions, really tear people up. But it might seem really strong, but automatics hit on average 2 or more times, and in this system that could be enough to kill someone.
Yeah.
But
yeah, even a guy at 40 some wounds, if I roll 3 max damage, he's dead.
Yeah.
But I mean, like there was a what was it? Oh yeah, scopes. So my question with scopes. So besides just increasing the effective long range, I know they have a minimum range, but in the book I couldn't find anywhere. So if I have a minimum range distance of 7 and I have a scope, it doesn't say that I impart any negatives or anything. It just says I can't use the aim action and gain benefit from it. So if a DMR is rocking in like a building that's like within 5 meters, there's no negative, there's no nothing. It's just he can still shoot.
Yeah, he can still shoot. You just can't take aim action.
Yeah.
And if you do try to take aim action, you gain penalties instead of benefits. So like there's just no reason to do it. And a lot of that was to stop people from trying to stack like scopes and close range stuff with snipers and DMRs.
See, I almost want them to take penalties. Like
Snipers definitely do.
Well,
But
just the DMRs, because like, I throw the canted iron sight on a DMR and I use that, and that alleviates the problem entirely. But if you have a scope, you can still shoot, and it's like, okay, I just don't get a +5 for aiming. Like, it's not. I'm losing out on a +5. That's not enough for me to be like, oh my god, my world's ending. Like, it's rough. It's like, whereas if I'm having to, like, if my only sights are this like 4x scope and I'm in a building, that's gonna like hinder me like a lot.
so I actually have the document up right now. If I were to make it so it is a -10 instead of just no aim action, I wonder how the community would take that.
I'd probably like murder you, but I mean,
I'll do it.
you're gonna do it.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens. Cause I don't know, man. That makes sense to me. Um, and I mean at that point we're going into territory where me as a GM I start talking again about the issues with RPGs and range distances because nobody runs a game anymore or has really ever where you're more than 50 meters away from something because people don't want to do that. They don't want to have big maps. They don't want to do long range engagements and stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean that is what it is. But I mean, I don't know. It makes sense to me that it would hinder it a little bit. A -10, it's not the end of the world, but I mean, and so what's with the aim action? What's with the +5 and +10? Why did you do that differently from like Fantasy Flight Games instead of doing like the +10, +20,
I was about to ask what they actually did.
10, 20?
Yeah. Okay. So I don't know. I just thought +5 and +10 were good, especially in a system that's very lethal. Our characteristics, I think, are already higher on average than the Fantasy Flight games.
Oh yeah, the damages are off the charts.
Yeah.
And yeah, because it's like, it's surprising because aiming only gives you a +5, whereas short range gives you a +10, and then point blank a 20.
Yeah.
So it's like
The idea was if the gun barrel's in someone's chest, you better not miss.
yeah, but like, well, there's also the issue because point blank range is 3 meters, and I have a player who has a machete, and then well, actually no, I think you edited that to where the machete and the bayonet don't give a +1 to reach anymore.
Yeah. Reach got out of hand. Players found out that if building a character right, they could get a hunter with like a 20-meter melee range.
I mean,
Or
yeah,
a brute with a 14-meter melee range. And I was like, ooh,
yeah,
I'm going to fix this.
I had a marine with a 3-meter range, which means no one can ever point blank him.
Yeah.
So you just got rid of it. But that's the thing, man. It's like it messes with me, because if you have a bayonet on the end of the rifle, you should have reach. Like you should, right?
Yeah.
So I mean,
I could give that a +1 reach. Actually, that's a good idea. No, but what if someone does like? There's a pistol in the game that allows you to get a any rifle based attachment. I don't. People are gonna be like, get this tiny little pistol with a bayonet, get +1 reach on it.
Make it to where that pistol can't get the bayonet. Because that's what I would do. Because it makes sense. Like if I get a shotgun and I put a bayonet on the end, or a rifle, I should be able to have an extra 1 reach. I don't think you should have it to where that crap, what did you call them? I can't remember if they're called aptitudes or what, but the one that increases your sides and gives you another reach. I don't
ability.
I don't.
Oh no! Oh that
yeah,
outliers.
The outliers. I don't think that should give you an extra reach. I think
your
reach should be
big old arms. Got some Waluigi arms on it.
Yeah, but you have equipment that does that, and that's where I run into that issue where I have a player who's a big guy who has 3 reach now because he was using the machete, and that means no one can point blank him because the point blank range is 3 meters. He could never get point blanked. They'd be within melee range of him.
Yeah,
so it was. I don't know.
That's a good way to build a character, though.
Yeah, but I mean, it was
I understand the issue of not being able to get point blank, but you do need to be able to give players, especially melee-based players, a way to slightly even the odds. Because when a gun on average is like a 40 meters is nothing to a gun, 100 meters, like you need ways to slightly balance those odds.
Well, I mean, you're already giving them bonus to damage because of it. I don't think the 1 meter is going to make the difference. I mean, it might, maybe, but that means that, like, someone with the max AG agility they can start with, they're getting a charge range of 15 meters. And, I've seen him lock down, like, an entire, like, I can never point blank him, that's one, but also, like, he'll just run into a room and it's like now all these 4 people are in close combat with him because they're all within 3 meters.
Actually, that's a good idea. I should make it so you only remove the point blank benefits to one opponent that you're fighting, and it's the one you'd be focusing on.
Oh, like the person that you engaged first?
Or whoever you're just engaging with.
Oh, okay, so if they do the charge action, they'll only remove it for that one person. Oh,
Yeah.
that's entering into some dangerous territory, man.
Ooh, you should not be charging 3 dudes with guns when you have a machete out.
Well, this is what I'm talking about. So this is an example of people from the Fantasy Flight games, like fans, coming over because they're used to melee locking enemies. That's what it is. They would move into a combat, get them all within melee range, and then they can't move out of melee combat without having to sacrifice a full action, or they would have a free hit on them. So that's what they would do. That's what they would do. They'd melee lock people. Now the way that you're doing it forces them to rely on their team a bit more, and also, I mean, the way I explained it to anyone I play with is I'm like, it's a gun game. This is guns are scary. This is a game about guns. Melee combat's possible, grappling's totally viable, but you don't charge into a group of people like a space marine and start swinging at everyone you see. You don't grapple someone when you have 2 other enemies in close combat with you. Like, you just don't do that shit. That's how you die. And
Yeah.
they're learning that. But I mean, you could you could do something like that. But I mean, I do think that one does give a pretty decent amount of stuff. They're size larger. They get a +1 reach. They get +2 to damage. And then you got rid of the one that gives us bonus wounds. I can't remember what it was, like either +4 or +6 wounds. And now it just ignores the first level of fatigue. Which, I mean, it's still cool, but it's not wounds though.
I don't remember that. But I'm guessing that was Forte? No. Forte is
I can't remember offhand.
enduring.
Yeah, so that was initially, it gave you bonus wounds. And then now it's just you ignore the first level of fatigue. Now, I would say it used to be like +6 wounds or something, because you also bumped the amount of wounds you get the lower your luck is. It used to be +8 for 1 luck. Now it's +12.
Yeah. Luck is just, it's so powerful.
Dude, I have a guy who he takes no luck. He picks 1 and then he spends his luck point on getting another outlier. and the guy who died was the one with 4 luck.
Yeah, but he can come back.
He can come back? That's an option? No, he's dead.
Oh, no. Luck is the most powerful, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a currency in the game. Like I'm gonna go up to let's go through the luck system.
Yeah, let's go through that
because the luck is like my favorite thing in this. Yeah. So here's the great thing about luck. Luck can be spent or burnt. Spending, just a bunch of minor things, and those come back every session and every mission. At burning, they're gone for good until you reward players for either finishing missions or doing something heroic or good. Like, that's how you want to hand out luck. You can also purchase luck, but with 2,000 experience.
Yeah.
So, spending luck, there are 3 types. You have encounter, medical, and narrative. With encounter, just spending, you can re-roll a failed test at a +10. Mm-hmm. Gain an additional +20 on the next test, but it must be specified before that turn. Then you have added degree of success to a test that was made. Then you can add a degree of failure to an opponent. Then you can count as rolling a 10 for initiative, so maxing your initiative.
Yep.
Or you can spend it to count as rolling a critical hit on a single die roll of damage, so you can get the free exploding damage. Then you have medical. The character recovers from being stunned, blindness, or death. the character recovers up to 4 wounds. The
Wait,
character
did you just breeze past? It said blindness or death.
deafness.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Keep. I thought you said death.
Now, then the character can recover up to 4 wounds or remove 2 degrees of fatigue. Or if the character's under 0 wounds, they stabilize at 0.
Oh,
Then you
real
have
quick
narrative.
question. Using luck
Yeah.
to recover from stunned, it doesn't matter how many half actions you're stunned for?
Nope, they're just recovered.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's
And
what we
then
thought, yeah.
yeah, and then narrative options, small find a small arms weapon, change the disposition of an NPC up or down 2 slots, which can be useful. And the character gains inspiration, represented by the player asking the GM one question related to the situation the characters are in, and the GM answers. Then burning luck. This is the important. We're going to just skip straight to medical.
Yeah.
Return from death or stop death from happening to the character. The character comes back but unconscious at 0 wound. The character removes all fatigue and all special damage. Or the character recovers all fatigue, medical effects, and recovers wound.
Yeah, see, he burned all of his fate. Or, luck points. I'm so used to Fantasy Flight games calling it fate. So yeah, he burned them, but I guess he didn't burn them properly. So I'll let him know about that, because yeah, he did. But yeah, he spent all 4 fate. He spent all 4 luck points, and then he burned them, but he didn't burn them in that way. So he burned them to like try to heal or stop stuff before he died.
So you can spend luck, and then the better way for him to do it was he should have allowed himself to die, then burnt 2 to come back with 10 wounds, instead of burning all of them trying to stay alive, because he would have.
He spent them and burned them to stay alive, and he had 4, so he used 8. And he I get what you're saying. So yeah, we just breezed. I guess we didn't notice that. I didn't know that was an option. So you can bring yourself back from dead. That seems. Oof. I mean, I guess that makes sense though. You know, because you only do it 4 times. That makes me not want to give them to them though. That makes me want to have them burn them.
So here's the thing about luck. Enemies can have it too.
Oh, see, dude, now we're I know that, but now we're getting into some rough stuff.
So the average at the higher difficulties, generally a character will get 1, and at the max difficulty they can get 2 to 5 depending on what you want to play, because there I use the general Halo difficulty structure to create a simplified, easy to use or quick to use bestiary.
Yeah,
but
you do it as easy, normal, heroic, legendary. Yeah, I saw that.
But then I added one.
Oh,
makes them really mad.
What's that one called?
You asking me that has made me forget.
It's like Overkill or something. I don't remember.
Starts with a V? I'll scroll.
But yeah, because I really do like how you have the NPCs set up, where it's like, oh, I can select their stat line, I can select their wounds, I can mix and match, I can do what I want, and it's all pretty standard. Nemesis.
Okay. Yeah.
But I'm worried to bump up the difficulty of the enemies per se, because the equipment doesn't vary. You know, it's like the better they get at using, it's just making them better at using it. So I'm hesitant. It's like I don't want to jump up to like right now they're just on easy. I don't want to jump up to normal and stuff, because it's like now they're gonna be pulling off some crazy shots, and the damage is the same, the armor is the same, they're just as tough. But yeah, the NPCs have far less wounds. Like you're talking like it's like 20, 30, and then I think it just goes up by 10s.
Yeah, generally.
Yeah, but yeah, I slapped them with 2 player characters. I just made 2 characters so that I learned how to make characters.
Yeah.
As opposed to giving them NPCs. But I mean, do you have is it better to have their allies be NPCs or just make characters with them, or what's your?
It depends on what you as a GM wants. Like the bestiary is specifically here to give people just quick access to like stat lines.
Yeah.
because like that's also the reason why like I have like the world and character generators at the back of the book. It's all there to help new GMs or GMs that don't have enough time,
Gotcha.
flesh stuff out.
So I have a question for you. Stealth. So that's the camouflage skill when it
Hmm.
comes to stealth movement, everything like that. And so is stealth broken if they move past a half move? So if you move more than a half move?
I can't even remember how it works.
Because there's an issue that I'm running into that I've run into in every system that has stealth. And so one thing that I like as a general rule is that if you're in stealth, you can't move
Oh
more
no,
than
here
a
it's
half
not.
move.
Uh, so when moving prone, you get a +20 bonus to your stealth.
Uh-huh.
Crouching, you get a +10. Crawling, 0. Walking, -10 penalty. And then running is a -20 penalty.
Okay, so it just gives minuses.
Yeah.
So like, when does someone roll a perception test to hear you?
That's more of a like. How do I put it? Like, you know how like a GM for Dungeons and Dragons would tell you to like roll to hear something. It's something like that. It's like
See,
or you can look like the player itself can like choose to search. So like you've got skills specifically for just looking around and trying to notice changes.
so they would use investigation.
Yes.
So if they don't have investigation, they're going to take a -20 to their perception.
You can use a base perception to try to find someone, but there's no bonuses or extra abilities that come with it.
So what?
Because
So what?
investigation comes with other things that you can do, but just to try to spot someone or spot something, you can just roll straight perception.
So what I've been doing to kind of assist, because as a GM, because unless there's a specific time dictated, if I did it that way that you're talking about, which I know what you're talking about, every GM does that, roll something and try to
Yeah.
hear it. If I did that for my NPCs, like that they're fighting, they could potentially get caught, almost immediately, or it's if I just roll it whenever I feel like. And I don't want to be unfair. I feel like there should be a clear definition so that I can't be biased. Um, what I've been doing so far is that, to do any sort of looking around, like, if you're standing guard, like a simple active perception check is a half action. And if you're not doing one, obviously that would be opposed to their camouflage. If it's not, I decided to make, D&D has passive perception, where someone who's not actively looking for you still has a role that will determine whether or not they hear you just based on like you moving, and they're kind of like non-actively looking for you. It's just like, oh, I feel someone breathing on my neck. And so what I did on that was, if you're not doing anything, if you're just standing still, standing guard, not performing actions, you have a passive perception roll of 40, which means, if you have a perception of 30, you have a -1 degree of success. If it's 40, you have a 0. And if you're doing something, you would have a roll of 50. So doing that has actually made it easier, because it's like when it comes to having the players sneak around, I don't know if there's a better way to do it, but that's one thing that like I would hope that you would consider at some point, is a passive perception, because then the GMs can use it not only for NPCs that are getting snuck up on by the players, which would save me from even having to roll anything, but it would also help the GM when he's trying to ambush the players. I would just roll my camouflage roll, and I would go off their passive perception unless they decided to use a half action to look for.
Yeah, it's a good idea. I'd have to,
Yeah,
play with that.
that's one that just me and a couple guys were like, we thought of it, but we don't know how to transit it to where it would fit right from D&D, because like D&D, I think it's like, they just take your wisdom modifier and that's what it is. I don't know how that would transition to a D100 system. um, but yeah, I just thought that would be interesting. Otherwise, I mean, everything's great, man. We haven't gone into vehicle combat yet, so we're gonna figure out soon how that's gonna work. I'm sure it's gonna be great.
Vehicles are beefy and scary, so.
Oh my god, dude! I mean, I have a player who's using a rocket launcher on infantry, so yeah, I expect it to be so. I ain't, he's using it. I don't know if you have any rules about explosives damaging, uh, like concrete and stuff like that. Do you have rules in there for damaging buildings?
Not entirely. You just. Nah, I don't. I don't. I really don't.
Because I was thinking the other day, he's like, like if you have a blast 9 or something, like, and it's going through multiple walls, um, I was like, I was just basically doing like the person behind the first wall, they're gonna get cover from the wall, but then it's not gonna go through more than one wall. Like a second wall, it's just the explosion won't go through it. Um, but I don't know. I don't know if that's because I mean you have a kill radius. You've done definitely extensive work on the explosives. The demo charges and the breaching charges and stuff. Um, I'm waiting to see if you're gonna ever do any more with that. I was thinking the other day, like, if you ever started to do, because I see that you have like atmospheric rules where, like, based on the atmosphere, explosives will do more or less damage and stuff like that. And I was like, well, what if he starts doing it to where using explosives in confined spaces? I was thinking about stuff like that.
Yeah. There were originally plans to do a system in the game that was like what was the word I used for it? I guess I'll never remember. But it was basically base building and base destruction,
Oh,
and
okay.
it turned out to be just too much because players expected too much from it, almost like I don't know if I'd put like Rust, like, or stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Like players just wanted so much from it. I didn't know how to stretch all of the rules, how to streamline it so it wasn't too much or too long, and so it's just kind of down to the GM should know that the demolition pack should demolize something pretty well.
I got you. Um, but yeah, what about like chucking a hand grenade into a room or something like that? Um, or shooting a rocket into like a car garage. Um, like I almost like want, like, it's like a room that's like a 2x2. Um, I mean, everybody's gonna get hit by the kill radius at that point, but I mean, I almost want like the extra blast radius that would exceed the room to increase the kill radius. So like
Oh
if
man,
you if
that's
you
too mean.
start,
That's too mean. I can't.
I mean, if you drop a
I can't make
grenade,
kill any more dangerous.
like if I drop a grenade in a hallway, um, like if I throw a hand grenade in the hallway, like the blast radius should be different. It should be more localized. It should be scary. You know?
Yeah, but that's that sort of thing where it's you need to start having like a give and take based on how simulistic something is, based on how maybe at least a little kind to the players it could be.
Yeah.
Like once you start asking players to math out room sizes, like classic Dungeons and Dragons, might be a bit too much for the system. Especially like being like, yeah, my little hand grenade now can reach this entire hallway. So bye everybody.
Oh, like yeah, I didn't want it to extend blast radius. Like I don't want a hand grenade to do more than 8 meters, but in a hallway, I would want to increase the kill radius.
It's still just too mean.
Something like that. Um, but I mean, it's it's scary. It's like I want them to be scared. But yeah, you're right. Because the kill damage right now is just also they don't survive it most of the time. But there's one thing mechanically, the shotgun, which has become more and more aggressive and mean. There's one thing I'm fine with it shooting 5d10 at like point blank range. Fuck them. It's a shotgun. It's scary. But it's the Pierce. It has a Pierce 13. It has the same Pierce as a damn assault rifle. And I understand it. I've seen buckshot punch through Kevlar at point blank range, so I get it. But mechanically, I think that a shotgun's Pierce should be like lower, like probably almost on par with like the SMG or lower, like 4 to 6. Because like I almost want them to have that less Pierce, and I want the negatives for shooting further to be basically you have no Pierce. To force them to get close to get that extra damage. Because I mean 5d10, man. I mean you're talking like
that's a
I
good
was
point.
rolling like 36, 38, 44. Like I didn't roll anything under a 30 all the time.
With 4.0, shotguns actually got a buff. That's why you're throwing so many dice now, because the community kept yelling about like, well, why are shotguns so weak? And I'm like, the entire time I'm thinking,
God, they
they're
weren't weak
not
before.
weak.
They went from 40
They're
10
not
to 5.
weak. Yeah, so now I'm sitting here like, I was sitting here, and this was another thing when I said spite. Because the community kept complaining about shotguns, I gave them that 1d10 extra, where they are now one tapping.
And I don't have a problem with it, to be honest. Like it's not bad. And it's like,
I think if I were to reduce the Pierce by 5 on all of the shotguns, I think that they'd be at a good spot.
Yeah, like I think. I mean, I'm thinking more. I think more than that. I think it should be less than the SMG. I really should. I really do. Because like, the SMG is kind of viable, but you're not going to be getting through chest pieces as good unless you're max damage.
Yeah. People like those because they're quick to use, quick to reload, and players are going to be running around trying to dual wield them, especially with the new rules that let them do that.
Yeah, and I mean, besides the 60 round assault rifle, the SMG is the best handheld weapon to suppress with. Besides, like heavier weapons, obviously like the LMGs and stuff.
Yeah,
because it has that 10 round automatic fire. Which, I mean, but yeah, I'm saying, man, yeah, if you drop it down to like 5 for the Pierce for the shotgun, I think you're still good. It's like, to be honest, like if you had it as base damage plus 0 and Pierce 0, it's still gonna fuck people up. Like it's, if someone rolls 5 ones, I just feel bad for them. I don't, it's whatever. It's a dangerous weapon. But yeah, I was like, why is this piercing as much as an assault rifle? I'm like, the fuck?
So the original idea was because a shotgun would be hitting more unarmored areas. With spread. So that was the original idea behind it. But I can see what you mean. So I'm actually currently doing just as you said. 6 gauge shotgun, or I mean 12 gauge 6. Jeez. 12 gauge shotguns will have a 4 pierce, and 8 gauge will have a 6.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. It's if someone bitches, just slap them, because like it's a mean weapon still. It's like, just if they're like, oh, you got rid of all my pierce, you just go get closer. That's it. Just tell them that. Just send them DM, get closer. So this was another thing. Do you have to get the point blank bonus to get the point blank damage?
No, it's just the range. If you're within the range.
Yeah. So like, yeah. So yeah, that's okay. That's good. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Suppression
and execution range will allow people to guarantee one hit kill people with the shotgun too. So,
well, execution range is what? That's like,
you have to be unaware and at point blank.
Yeah, that's the see. I love the and it was like it automatically hits and it did max damage, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that because that allowed, and that's why I want that passive perception thing. Because when we did that, it allowed my players to sneak up on people and knife them, and they could use execution and stuff, and it was great. You know, this is the only system where like I've been able to effectively give my players that Assassin's Creed Splinter Cell fucking sneak attack moment. D&D don't do
Yeah.
that right.
I remember recently changing that for since the beta. Let me see what that's still at because
That's really good. If the target is unaware and you're point blank, you do an instant hit and max damage. That's great. Um, but there were two other things I was going to talk about. The headshot for the weapons, pistols and DMRs and stuff like that. Ignoring the toughness. I don't think that's enough. But I was going to ask you what your thoughts, like what your reasoning behind that was to like explain it. Like with the headshot special rule, where if you shoot someone in the head, it ignores their toughness bonus for their damage reduction. Why do it that way?
to really hurt super alien, but not to be too nasty towards regular.
See, I don't think it's enough. It's I feel like and that's the thing is that if you got rid of the random hit allocation, that would also play another thing into the called shot stuff. And if you had a headshot weapon, it's like I don't know, it's like I don't want it to ignore armor because armor is really important, but maybe if it added an additional damage die and ignored the toughness, because I feel like it should be scary. Like if you think about it, in the games you're one tapping the grunts and stuff. If you were using that on the Marines, technically they'd be in the same boat. Um,
Yeah, but it was still just it was just to be less mean. The game's already mean enough. I don't want to be too mean.
yeah. I mean, hey, but I'm saying if you got rid of the random hit allocation, you're talking if you don't have that stuff for the called shots, you're getting a -20 to shoot them in the face. And then on top of that, they get evasion and stuff. So I don't think if you work in the combination of no hit allocate, like random hit allocation, I think it wouldn't be mean. But yes, with the fact that you can randomly possibly hit them in the face, yeah, it would fuck up their life. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, alternatively, you could make the DMR 2d10 and boost its base damage a little bit. So then there would be even more of a very difference between using assault rifles and DMRs.
Yeah, the system, like, and the entire system is balanced based on uh, the ammo size dictates like all damage.
Oh, okay. So that's how I got you.
Yeah,
Okay, that makes
that's
sense.
how the players were able to stat all these weapons in the armor.
Oh, okay, okay. That makes sense. Okay, yeah, I can see why you would do it that way. Yeah, that makes sense. Um, yeah, I was about to say that. Yeah, that solved it then. Because yeah, I didn't know it was statted in that way. I was wondering why so many of them were that similar, and then that thought didn't even occur to me. But that makes sense. So with suppression, I had a question about that. So as from what I've read, this is me just going off of what I read, and I'm going to tell you what I gleaned from it. You can tell me how wrong I am because I don't know how to read properly. I've been to school once, like once. I walked in, looked around, and left. So, yeah, might not read too good, man. Good ways. Um, I interpreted it as I can just say I'm gonna suppress that guy if he's in my range. I do it, and he now has to roll a test that is minus the amount of bullets I just sent his way.
Yes.
And that's it. I don't roll anything. I don't do anything. That's it.
No, you just fire, and multiple. The more people that fire, the bigger his penalty.
Now, to clarify, when does he roll his next pinning test to see if he gets out of it.
At the beginning of his turn.
So I pin him on my turn. He rolls. He's pinned. At the start of his turn, he rolls again.
No. For his next turn, he's usually trying to get to cover.
Okay, so that was one that wasn't clarified too well.
So
in the book.
his turn, he can roll it for that turn, but he won't return back to normal until afterwards because the book says that he had to get to cover.
What if he was already in cover?
Man, yeah, that's a good point.
So like the way I thought it was working. Yeah, I'm gonna go off of let me tell you what I thought it was, and then you just tell me how wrong. I assumed he's gonna lose a turn if he fails the first roll.
Yeah.
Okay, and so that's what we were doing, and then so now we also did it is if the individual who was doing the suppression is killed or moves, proceeds to not suppress that person any longer, it's instantly broken.
No, they have to pass the courage test.
Okay, would it still be a minus? What is it? It's like a minus 20, isn't it?
Yeah. It'll stay at minus 20.
So with that's one thing is that why does the test become harder? Yeah, why is that?
Because I never thought about it.
What?
I mean, when you're trying to like make quick edits to rules over the years,
No,
and someone brings up one thing, and you're like, "That's right," and then you make like one change. It's so much to keep track of as one person.
It's like a 400-page book. I don't blame you.
Yeah.
I didn't expect that. That one should be an easy fix. I think you should just change it to like a plus 10. That's it. But yeah, I would definitely say it should be a plus 10, and then if the person isn't shooting at them any longer, it should be like a plus 20. Like it should be easier if it's not an easier test because they're not shooting at you, the effect should just stop. Because like yeah, they'd be able to get their shit together, after a round or two if they're not being shot at. But yeah, I wasn't expecting that answer. That was fucking funny. That's crazy.
Yeah. I actually just made it so it's a standard courage test now, and then you get a plus 10 each time you fail it until you pass.
Did the amount of bullets still affect the initial test still?
Yes.
Okay, that's good because I love that shit. That shit gets me hard. Like that's amazing.
So that rule changed specifically because have you seen the weapon called the confetti maker?
Mm-mm.
So do you have the book open?
No, here I can't. Pull it up.
Oh, I want you to Control F and go check out the confetti maker.
Are you talking about the Halo Mythic book or the armor?
Yes.
How do you spell confetti?
CONFETTI.
Told you I didn't know how to read. Oh my god. Do you have a page number?
For, my page number would be different because so it's under machine guns. It's the 308 caliber light machine gun.
Let me see here. Sorry, it's I switched to Adobe Reader, and for some reason the Control F doesn't work properly on that.
Dude, Adobe's garbage. I have to compile the book in Adobe, and it's just
Yeah, I was using, surprisingly enough, Internet Explorer before Adobe kept bothering me. It was like, switch us to your thing, and I'm like, now I regret it. Surprisingly enough, Internet Explorer was working fine as a PDF reader.
yeah.
I would use the Google OneDrive, but the fucking none of those tags where you can quick like go to.
Oh, the bookmarks.
Yeah, none of them are there in the OneDrive, which
just,
blows my mind. I'm like, why aren't they there? Those are Covenant weapons. Well, it's a human weapon, right?
Yeah, so it's under human machine guns. It's the third weapon in the list.
Let's see here. Oh, here we go. Oh, because it's auto 20? Okay.
Yeah. So the weapon it's built to suppress because it already comes with a massive penalty to hit, but it fires 20 rounds in a turn. So like that weapon alone was why I moved the system over to however many shots get shot at you. That's how bad your
I do love
penalty.
that you are doing a different. Now whether or not this is on purpose because I can't assume now. The 308 is a different damage and boost than the 7.62 by 5.1 that the assault rifle uses. Even though
So
they're
so
similar
you're
rounds.
yeah, they're similar, but the entire the system is built on metric. And so everything is broken down into metric into a spreadsheet. And then the spreadsheet gives you your base damage and your pierce. But the weapon type gives you the amount of dice you roll.
Oh.
Yeah.
So wait, so I could have an SMG calibered in 7.62 and it would still just it would actually I don't even know if the SMG rolls 3 dice. Does it roll 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably 2.
I think it rolls 2. And
Yeah.
it would hit almost as hard, but it would just roll 2 dice instead of 3.
Huh. Interesting.
And then to actually properly balance everything, it's cost. Cost is what balances the system. Because the spreadsheet will also price every weapon.
Well, shit. That's interesting. And so what caused you to go with the credits? What made that happen?
I wanted to let characters take what they wanted and not what they were forced to have, and the credit system was the best way I found to do that.
Did that come from like did you get the inspiration from something like Deathwatch has
No,
a requisition system, you just were like I want them to be I just
no.
want them
So
to do that.
a lot of like the earlier stuff for the game was more based on just ideas. Like I don't know if there's any other game that does what Mythic does, where you are given an amount of experience and then you have to spend some of it to even be to pick the class you even want.
Yeah, that's different. And
Yeah.
I don't hear people complain about it, which surprised me. I thought that would be the thing they bitch about. Like the most. I really did. I really thought they would bitch about that. So that made me question though, because the way I've been doing it, because I couldn't see where it specified it. When you have a class or whatever you call it,
Hmm.
because I'm still learning your verbiage for
Soldier
stuff.
type. But yeah,
Soldier
it's
type.
just a class.
When you have like an ODST and it's like, oh, I give you +10 to courage, do those count towards the amount of upgrades that you can buy for characteristics?
Yes, those are pre-purchased in the class.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it does list somewhere in character creation that those are those are like class pre-purchased.
Okay. Because yeah, I was like looking through that and and then there was like upgrading to an ODST was you gotta have like so it's like an ODST costs like 2,800 XP. And
You have more or less have to match what the ODST begins with to play an ODST.
yeah, well, the only things that it was so it says that you have to have 3,200 XP and you have to have there was like a couple of upgrades. It wasn't
Yeah.
anything crazy though. So it's like I mean unless you're weird and you just didn't spend XP up to that point. Now is that 3,200 XP unspent or just in
Spent.
total? Spent.
That's how much you had to earn.
So you had to
Yeah.
spend 3,200 XP. So it actually costs more to
You don't
upgrade
even
an
need to
ODST.
spend it. You don't even need to spend the experience. You just need
Oh,
to have
just have it.
you had to have earned it.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So once you hit 3,200 XP and you've bought the couple of upgrades to your characteristics like were required, you get your ODST gear. I get
Yeah.
you. So you'd be able to customize a little bit better
Yeah.
than going ODST out the gate. Yeah, because I mean, yeah, but I was looking at the chart that tells you what tier you're on, and they don't.
Yeah, so that confuses a lot of people. So, the best way to
Yeah,
put it is the number is like that's the lowest of that tier. I gotta
yeah.
scroll to so I can like explain it better. Scrolling, brute, Spartan 3, technician, and oh, we got it. So like tier 1 is 500 experience. So if you don't have 500 experience, your tier is 0. Um, so like anything under 32,000, like 31,999, that's tier 6. But 32,000 is tier 7. Anything above tier 32,000 is tier 7.
So what's tier 2?
Uh 1,000. 1,000 to 1999.
Yes.
They're just they're used to kind of be thresholds.
I don't think
The original idea was to help GMs be like,
yeah.
here are the general strengths that you're giving your players.
Yeah, but I don't think those are spaced out appropriately now.
They're an exponential jump.
Yeah, because like to be tier 2, I mean I have to give my players enough XP to be tier 3 to be an ODST. They gotta have 2,800.
Oh yeah, that's probably because of the for 4.0. One of the big things was a major recalculation of
Yeah, all the classes jumped up and they were pretty significant too.
yeah.
Yeah, the ODSTs were like, I want to say like 1,800, maybe 2,000. Now they're 2,800.
Yeah.
And like a militiaman, not a militiaman, an army like soldier was like 1,600. Now it's 1,800. So it was a pretty sizable jump. But yeah, I get what you're saying. But yeah, that just needs to be adjusted a little bit, or you just need to bump the ODST to like tier
I just need to fix the tiers listed, because the entire reason that the tiers needed updated was over time, just like prices of stuff would change, or the amount of things characters get would change, and the original way that I had kind of balanced this stuff wasn't the best.
Yeah.
But it was also something people would rarely complain about. So it took all this time until people started to like go through the numbers and be like, "Hey, wait a minute." And that's when people finally started to go through and actually like put like 2 and 2 together. That's when I was able to know, like, oh, I need to fix this.
I get what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, to me it wasn't a huge thing, because like like those tiers and stuff, they're really just like guidelines or suggestions, and me GMing for as long as I have, I blatantly ignored them like I would normally do, because I'm like I was like, I'll look at the classes, I'll see what they can buy, and then go from there. But I do find an issue where there's not a real draw to be a civilian. Like, there's
So that's more to expect civilians to be in civilian game.
Well, I almost want there to be a class there. Well, like, first off, I want the classes to be arranged ascending in XP cost is one thing I wanted. Because like when you're looking through them and you have like the airman that was costing less than the marine, but the marine came first, then the ODST.
Yeah.
It's like I almost wanted them to be like going from 0 to 100, and like
they're actually in specialist order. That's what they're in.
Oh, they're in specialist order. What does specialist order do? What's that?
So that's just like you have your base up, Army, Marine, Militia, Air Force, and the Navy. Then you get to more specialized things like your ODST, your ONI operative, and then after that you go into your super soldiers. So your Orions, Spartan 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then your smart AI, and then at the back is like the things people probably don't want to be, which is a policeman and a civilian. So they're just at the back for the
So-
sake of
But are they? Is that by tier? Like, are they a tier order too, or no?
no.
Ah.
No.
Yeah, because
Civilians used to have their own section in the book, which I eventually phased out. So that's just why they're sitting in the back. And most players aren't going to want to see a civilian for the first thing that they look at in the book.
yeah, I mean, like it would be interesting to have the civilian there as like a 0 XP for, like similar, like the grunt was like that. It was 0 XP, and it's the first thing in the covenant thing.
Yeah.
Having the civilian there, and then the police officer, and then you start going into the military stuff. I don't. Yeah, I would say that I'd be much more prone to like having civilians or running a civilian game if it was like set up like a class where I can just tell them, all right, go in there, get this stuff, and they get little things, and then that's it. And
So I do have a book for that. There is a book that comes with 4.0 and maybe 3.7, and that's that civilian splat book that creates
okay.
a class system for them, because the book is very heavily military, and I didn't want to clutter the book for one single class.
Were you gonna move the police over to that one or no?
No, because the police still get to start with some stuff.
Okay,
They're not as heavily limited. They have training.
Okay. And yeah, I mean that makes sense to me. All right, that's fine. Are you gonna do a lot of separate books, or are you gonna end up cramming it all into one thing at some point?
The separate books will usually be small stuff. Like that Oni handbook was commissioned, and I had also used that to fill in like, the civilian splat book was also commissioned.
What do you mean by commission? Like someone paid you to make it?
Yes.
Oh, well, shit.
So
Oh, damn.
initially, the handbook only allowed one Oni type, and I didn't want to fill the book because there's a lot of different Oni factions, and they all do some pretty ridiculous stuff. So it was like, you know what? I'm going to make a book, because there were two things I didn't want to put in the main handbook just because of how ridiculous they get: cryo weapons and the Oni factions.
Okay.
Because cryo weapons are scary powerful. And so when the dude paid me like $200 to make this Oni, I'm like, the dude paid me $200. I'm not just gonna make like 5-6 pages of just new faction types. I'm gonna do more for him. So I made all these new weapon types, filled the book with the new cryo types as well.
And then gave it to everybody else for free because he sucks.
No, he wanted it commissioned specifically for that.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
That's
And the civilian book was the same way. The dude paid like $50, and I just made a quick build a civilian out type book where you can be like, I was a nurse, so I get nurse things, or I played video games.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but or like a gun nut, like gun collector is in there, so you can start with some gun.
So with the commissions and stuff, that makes me question. With the artwork, do you pay someone to do that, or is there a friend who's just doing it for you?
Yeah, I pay for that. It's a friend that I pay, because people got to make money too.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you're gonna give him money because he does good work.
Yeah, and those are full price commissions too, so it can get pretty costly. That's why I only do cover changes with mainline book upgrades.
Man, you should do some fucking like competitions and stuff, man. You should have some GMs and stuff who are playing and running campaigns, like submit some stories and
Yeah, that's actually exactly what we did. I just recently deleted the channel. But
garbage. I
yeah.
missed it.
Yeah. You put in your story, and then if we like it, you would use it as the cover. But everyone that entered a story was not something that could be used for a cover, and I mean everyone. So what we did was we took some weapons that people were using. We took one scenario, and then we took another scenario's characters, and then we just jumbled it all up into just the main cover for 4.0, because people were making like DeviantArt tier crazy characters with their crazy armors and weapons decked out with as much stuff that they could dump onto it, or scenarios that literally could not be used for a still cover.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's funny.
like I don't need like some dude with like up armored Venator Mjolnir moving at 600 mph. Like I don't need stuff like that for.
I don't think. Well, I like the Band of Brothers. You know, like the gritty, like realistic approach to things. I don't think a fucking Spartan should be on the cover. Like, you know, it's like, in my opinion, I don't think the Spartan should be in the game. But again, it's Halo. I know you had to.
Oh no, but we did. We went with the ODST.
Yeah, I know. I love that. You know, but I mean, like what you were talking about. If you leave it up to the fans, there's going to be a Spartan on that book.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the thing for me. It's like, man, it's like I've, you know, the books, the games, they're about Spartans. I got enough of that. I want to know about the boots on the ground, man. That's what I want.
Exactly.
And yeah, I'm loving it so far, man. What the only thing I could say is that alternatively with because we're talking about the pictures and stuff with the armory, instead of doing like a picture for each gun, is doing one or two pages that are just a picture of the guns and they just have a little name underneath them. I think that would be interesting. You know, a lot of the Fantasy Flight games had some of that where you would have your armory list with all the stats and then the special effects and stuff, and then after that you'd have a couple of pictures and a little description about the weapons.
Yeah, so we used to have art in the books, but it would bloat the PDF size to like some pretty unacceptable levels. So that's why we don't really do that anymore. We would, but it's honestly it's way too much. Like the book used to have like fancy backgrounds and like different art all over, but now that the book is over twice the length as it was back then, can't. I would, but can't.
I'm checking now. Does it have a rear cover?
No.
Does it? Just says something about Halo copyrights.
Yeah, it's just filling in all the copyright information to let people know, hey, I don't own this.
This is not funded by Bungie or Microsoft. Just letting y'all know, just in case. So, the 100 degrees of success. That's what you're calling this system, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what? So would you say that? It's at the end of the day, it's just a D100 system, right?
Sort of. It's just so heavily mangled with all of the things I've enjoyed throughout the time that it's not BRP anymore. It's not like a standard D100. It's not what it used to be with, which was a D100 GURPS game. So, at some point I just classified the game under 100 DOS so I could also like more easily put out, be like, this is a 100 DOS game. This is the World War One book. This is the Armory, stuff like that.
I guess I guess that's me where because I'm gonna be honest, I don't know the definition offhand of system, but with me, like when I say like something's a D10 system or 100, it's specifically in referring to the specific kind of dice they use. So like Vampire the Masquerade, it's a D10 system because that's all you use. Dungeons and Dragons is a multi-dice system.
This is definitely just a D100.
Yeah, so that's where I'm like, but I've the way you're talking about it, I've seen people do that before. So I mean, my vocabulary might just be wrong, but I mean, because like, yeah, I mean, it's. I mean, Halo Mythic is definitely one of a kind. It definitely uses a D100, but yeah, I wouldn't say it's definitely not Fantasy Flight Games. It's definitely not GURPS. It's you know it's its own thing. It's its own beast, and you know that's an amazing achievement. Like you know, doesn't matter who says any crap about your game ever, dude. You should feel so accomplished just for that fact. Like you are in possession of a homemade one of a kind system. That's impressive. Um,
Thank you.
yeah, dude, I've played a shit ton of games, a lot, and I can say that like yours has been one of the best ones I've played. Um, and it gets clearly like it's. I always tell everybody like right now, I'm like, this game makes guns scary. That's an achievement. You know, I've played decades of 40K, and you know, you're talking about Space Marines taking multiple shots to the face. Like this game grounds the things in realism that it needs to. You know, I can walk up to someone and shoot them in the face with a shotgun, and they're probably gonna get one tapped. Like very high percentage get one tapped, and that makes me happy.
Yeah.
Also, I can snap people's necks. Like that's a rule in there. That's amazing. Which I was wondering about that. It's like, well, you call it the neck crank, but it just gives them fatigue.
Oh, so a neck crank is an actual a grappling move that
Yeah.
was taught. Which the entire thing is you're not to snap their neck. The neck crank does this like weirdly specific thing where you like
Oh.
you like partially dislocate some sort of muscle, and it causes the body to like fatigue and lock up.
Well, let's get something in there. Give me a talent. Give me something.
You want a full on
Mm.
neck crack.
I want to cause critical damage and snap their neck.
Oh man, I would love to do that, but what's stopping a Marine to like luckily do it to like just get lucky on a fucking roll a 1 and do it to an elite?
That's the thing. The elite had all of his chances when he got grappled. You know, he had an opposed strength. He had this. If a Marine gets to the point where he can do the neck crank or whatever it is to snap the elite's neck, he's earned it. So
He's earned it.
You know, because it's like I could, as a Marine, I could charge him. I could grapple. I could spend luck and keep spending luck to just keep passing or make him fail. And I get there, but like what? I had to use 3 or 4 luck points to get to the point where I snap his neck. That's a great story, and that's worth it.
Decent. Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know where I'd put it. It wouldn't be for now, but that might be a 4.5 thing because 4.5 is going to be another big update. It won't be big in rule changes like this, but but it'll definitely be big in new.
One, and I don't know if this is an ability, but one I would suggest is bringing abilities in that would do the things that people are used to in other systems. Like, if there's an ability I can purchase for like 300 to 500 XP, where if someone tries to leave melee combat with me, I can get a free attack on them. That'd be cool. Because then it's like, if someone does like come at you, it's like, oh, you shouldn't be able to leave combat without getting hit. It's like you can get that. It costs XP. That way, not everyone has it, and only those people who specialize in melee combat can get that. I think that would be interesting. I don't know how you would do it though. Give them a negative or something, but maybe let it be to where they can only do it to one person in a single round. I don't know.
That's a pretty good idea. Yeah.
Because then, if you have those legendary elites with an energy sword, if they have that ability, that means that the player has to commit and finish that melee, or they have to risk running out and possibly getting stabbed with an energy sword. That would definitely mix up combat a bit.
Yeah. But man, that energy sword is already too scary. Like I'm always afraid of like doing something that'll just make gravity hammers and energy swords even just more one-sided.
But if that's an ability, and that's an ability that only like players are getting because they're purchasing it, or a legendary elite gets it, if you're rocking a legendary or heroic elite, we're already in the realm of them getting murdered. So
That's true.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely something to add to the.
I mean, dude, I can see like how this could easily take up years of just. I mean, do you still have fun doing it? You still have fun working
Yeah,
on it? That's good.
yeah, definitely.
That's great. I mean, I can't even imagine at this point. I mean, what do you do? Do you just sometimes just like breeze through it and just do some changes, or are you always just cranking out extra stuff you want to keep adding to it?
I'd say there's about 2 times a year that I'm actively, heavily working on it, and then the rest of it is getting feedback from players.
Are you working on
Because,
anything else?
uh, like projects or tabletop or anything,
Anything? Yeah, sure, anything.
I'm working on a video game, an artist on a game for as another project. It's a Halo fan game again, but what this is, it's fighting the Flood in a roguelite survival game. Survival is a bad way to put it. It definitely it will play you. It will play like ODST. I'll put it.
Okay, what's it called?
Branching Sickness.
What engine are you using?
Unreal. It's a very good engine for everything. Like, oh my god! No wonder why everyone uses it now.
Who the hell is Noah?
You found them. That's who you play as.
I found it in like 3 seconds. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So
I went to go do it, but Twitter wouldn't load.
So what? Someone has. That's like Halo stuff. So so you own the YouTube channel Branching Sickness.
I don't own it, but yes,
Oh, okay. So you're just working on it with someone.
yes.
So
I'm
it's
like one of like 5 or 6 people that actively like heavily work on the game.
oh, okay. So it's so was it your idea or did they approach you?
No, I know the creator, and that's how I was originally brought on to like help community stuff, but because I'm a 3D modeler, I ended up taking that position as well.
Oh, okay. That's cool, man. Well, shit. I'm sure, man. I'm sure if y'all need anything, you could just ask for people. So that won't be hard. You can always just be like, hey, I need voice actors, or hey, I need storyboard people, or actually, what is it? Just gonna be a survival game, or is it gonna be a campaign?
Uh, so that's the part that's kind of difficult right now. We do know that we are doing a firefight, and it's more like how we're gonna set up. Like we do have a proto Gravemind that we already have voiced, and she's doing a pretty good job of that. Like she's a great voice actress. I don't remember her name because I've spoken to her once, and I was at work during that time, so
Probably Debbie. That sounds like a good name.
probably,
Let's go with Debbie.
yeah. But like she's done great work, and she'll be voicing the narrator for the firefight mode as well.
Oh, that's great, man.
But the game's heavily uh changing.
So like where so are we gonna is this gonna be just like another Halo game or is this gonna be because I think the Unreal Engine is also what I might be 100% wrong what Squad was in. I don't know if you're aware of that one. Bilson.
I don't know what. Let's look that up right now. Yep, Unreal Engine 4. But that squad was also made by like a lot of people who had. Yeah, I believe those were the Project Reality guys. Right?
Yes, they modded
Yeah.
Battlefield 2 and then came over and made their own game in Unreal Engine. So but I mean like as far as like how it go, is it gonna be like Squad where it's FPS, a little smooth but grounded in more realism, or is it gonna be like your regular Halo or Call of Duty?
It'll be like your regular Halo, but the flood forms are a bit more aggressive.
Yeah, because damn, I mean, like, having like Well, like as far as like the weapons, the equipment, and everything goes, is it gonna be so oversimplified like Halo, where it's just two weapons and you switch between them, or is it gonna be more intricate?
You'll have two weapons, but the current idea is if you hold down your weapon swap or hit the button on keyboard depending on what you're using, you'll actually pull out a combat knife.
Oh,
And
okay.
and but it's more kind of like, yeah, it's just ODST. We currently have 3 grenades finished. We're playing with the idea of a 4th, more unique grenade. Like there are plenty of grenades in the Halo universe,
Yeah.
and I don't want to just be like, oh yeah, the other grenade that sticks to you. Like, no, that's not fun. So
Yeah, just
we've got the flame grenade, we got the plasma grenade, and we've got the standard frag grenade. So
yeah. I'm when you say flood, I'm hoping you guys drive home that ambiance and the, I think limiting light would be a great factor. I'm
oh,
thinking,
it is a dark game.
yeah, I'm thinking of like, I don't know if you played like GTFO
Oh
or
yeah, I have. I definitely have.
so like I'm thinking stuff like that as opposed to like Left 4 Dead, because Left 4 Dead's exciting, but when you're just sitting there and it's Left 4 Dead had an almost cartoony effect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want my heart to race. I want to do pacing.
Oh, it is a dark game. Yeah, and thanks to the level generation being completely random, so every time you play it, the structures of the rooms will be different.
Oh, wow.
It's to keep you on your toes.
That's crazy. That's gonna be interesting. It's
Yeah.
I mean, shit. I can do a whole nother podcast about that. I want to keep talking. I want to keep lasting. We're at almost 2.5 hours. So I think I've eaten up enough of your time. I would love to get with you again and keep talking about the game and Halo Mythic and keep picking your brain.
Certain.
You're just a joy to talk with. But let me go ahead and kill this stream, and then I'll talk to you for a second before we go. But
Okay.
did you want to say goodbye to anybody? You want to say hi to anybody who's watching?
Nah, people know who they are.
Yep, you know who they are. I know who they are. Maybe.
But yeah, a big thanks to everyone that does help with the game.